Jamming with History, Chapter 11 Audition Warm ups. Roman couldn't remember the last time he'd felt so nervous. He inspected his bow tie for the millionth time and fixed his hair for he didn't even know a number high enough. Should he ditch the bow tie? Or would that make it too obvious that he had thought about his look? He had picked his favorite shirt, with gold details along the cuffs, hem, and neckline. He wore long linen pants instead of the usual shorts. Yeah, maybe he should leave the tie on. His parents would definitely know, and Virgil was already going to tease him. There was no way he wouldn't notice. But he couldn't not try and look a little nicer. He was invited to the Sanders household. He kinda wanted to make a good impression. Because if hanging out at a friend's house turned out to be fun, he wanted to be allowed back in the future. And he needed the confidence boost. His day had not started great. When he woke up that morning, he was confronted with the fact that there were, in fact, places in his body that Remy had not yet fully introduced him to. All over there were spots that protested every step in his morning routine. Except his shower. That did help. Then he realized just in time that his phone would run out of juice soon. It was currently charging and should be ready to make it through the day. He hoped. At breakfast, he realized that he had reached the bottom of his favorite cereal, which meant that he got a bowl full of crumbs and a handful of flakes. Not ideal. He was in a funk and he was determined to get out of it. So, dressing up nicely was his first step. He had about 30 more minutes before Virgil was set to pick him up, and he prayed to every deity and spirit in existence that today was going to be a good day. Deciding to leave things as they are, just in case he would end up pulling his hair out or ripping his tie otherwise, he grabbed his phone and headed downstairs. A well-known smell lured him to the kitchen. "Are those Mamma Lorena's buñuelos?" he asked as he walked in, only to freeze when he realized that it was not Anna who was making the treats. It was his mother. "See! I had almost forgotten how much fun it was to make them," she smiled. It was a strange sight, his mother in the kitchen. "I didn't know you could cook," he muttered, causing his mother to look mildly insulted. "My mamma taught me to take care of myself. Just because I don't have to now doesn't mean I can't. We always made buñuelos together, be it for a party or to bring along when I visited friends." Roman's mother wasn't born into money. His abuela Lorena told stories of a big family in a small home, though his aunts and uncles and his mother insisted that she was exaggerating. When his mother met his father, opportunities for a sibling sprung from that. Now they were all living more than comfortable lives all over the country, some even abroad. Though his mother was definitely the most well off nowadays. When the family got together, it was chaos. Roman always enjoyed spending time with his cousins. He was the only child of that side of the family. He kind of understood why, though. His parents were very busy with work. It was more responsible not to have to divide what little time they did have over many children. "Maybe next time you can teach me?" he asked carefully. "That sounds wonderful," his mother responded with a bright smile. Roman returned the smile. He was fairly certain that it would be a while before his mother had the time to teach him to cook anything, but knowing that she wanted to kind of made him happy. "There," she said as she closed the lid on the Tupperware box, now holding a generous serving of his grandmother's most coveted recipe, promptly followed by the doorbell ringing. Roman looked up in surprise. Virgil usually let him know when he was at the gate so he could be let in. How was he ringing the doorbell? Or was it someone else? "Oh, I told Danny to let your friend through the gate when he arrived." Mother smiled, just a little nervous, as she took off the apron and was washed up in a hurry. "Oh, thanks," Roman smiled before hurrying to the door to open it. Danny, of course, was already there. But upon seeing Roman rush his way, he smiled and took a few steps back, bowing to him and gesturing that he could do the honors. Maybe the staff was aware of his crush. Not that Roman told them, but they saw him check his hair every morning, knowing full well that it would be a mess by the time he got to school. Ergo, he was trying to look good for Virgil. Roman took a quick breath, knowing Virgil was planning something for today. He told him to be ready for something big. Roman started to think that Virgil enjoyed shocking and flustering him just as much as he enjoyed subtly provoking his parents. He could take it. Whatever Virgil had planned was not going to visibly shock him. He is an actor. He can school his expression no problem. And to his credit, he did. But inside he was in full gay panic mode. Crop top, ripped up jeans, tattoos, like everywhere. A dragon on the right side of his neck, a skull on his left bicep, and a wilting rose on his stomach. There was something geometric poking from under his neckline. Not to mention the return of all his fake piercings, and his makeup was dark and intimidating, but also done really nice, and it made his eyes pop and his lips stand out and accentuated his jawline and cheekbones. Oh boy. Hi, Princey. Can I come in for a sec? It's murder outside. Virgil smirked. Roman nodded. Sure, he said with a nervous crack to his voice as he stepped out of the way of the door to let Virgil in. Thanks, Virgil nodded as he stepped in, taking in the scenery. Oh, hello. Roman and Virgil both looked towards the kitchen entry where Roman's mother came out. She looked a little paler and was trying very hard not to give away any thoughts on her face. Hello, Mrs. Fernandez. Virgil smiled politely, his careless posture giving way for one that looked more respectful, his expression perfectly pleasant and polite, clearly so showing that his parents raised a gentleman. Roman was amazed at Virgil's ability to look disarming even when he had done everything to look scary. It's a pleasure to meet you. Roman has told me a lot about you, he greeted as he walked over to her. A bit taken aback, she offered him her hand, which he took promptly. Isn't Mr. Fernandez home? He asked as he looked around. He is. He had a conference call. I'm not sure if he'll be able to join us, she told him, her eyes taking every detail of his look. Virgil pretended he didn't notice. He looked her in the eyes and nodded to himself with a smile. I can definitely see where Princey gets it from, he tells her. It? Roman asked before his mother could. You know, Virgil said carelessly, as he turned towards him, letting go of his mother's hand. That thing in your eyes when you feel strongly about something. The spark. Passion. I don't know what to call it, but you definitely got it from her, he explained. This was clearly the right thing to say, because Roman's mother stood a little taller as she heard this, smiling proudly. I know what you're talking about, young man. It is what drew me to Angelica in the first place. They all looked up the stairs where Roman's father was now making his way down to greet their guests, a pleasant smile on his face, but his eyes were critical. Virgil Sanders, am I correct? He asked, nodded and offered his hand. A pleasure to meet you, sir, he said. Roman's father quirked one brow, either surprised or impressed with Virgil's disposition, maybe both. He shook his hand, staring him down, but as far as Roman could see, Virgil did not flinch. There was a small smirk on Mr. Fernandez's face as he nodded to and released Virgil's hand. Roman was pretty sure he saw a look of approval. Somehow, Virgil had made his father warm up to him, if only a bit. We should go, Roman said, hoping to end this meeting on a good note. Ah, yes, Virgil, here, for your parents, as thanks for their hospitality. Angelica smiled as she handed the box with the buñuelos to Virgil, who took it with a grateful smile. That is so kind of you. On behalf of my parents, thank you. I'll have Roman back by dinner. If plans change, we will be sure to let you know in advance. But that should not be the case, he assured both. Then he turned to Roman and took him in. Princey, don't say you dressed up for little old me. If I'd known, I would have changed after shooting before coming here. He smiled. Roman withheld his victorious grin as he saw his parents' faces get overtaken with the confusion. Can't a guy dress up 'cause he feels like it? He shrugged casually. Virgil chuckled. I guess, he allowed. What should? Angelica asked, unable to help her curiosity. Oh, Virgil turned around and shrugged casually. My brother had this thing called cartoon therapy. He asked me to play a patient. His friend Joan had a little too much fun dressing me up as, I believe they called it, an androgynous edgelord. he shrugs before turning to Roman with a teasing smirk. What do you think? Did he do a good job? It's a bit out there for my taste, but I don't hate it, he asked as he gave him a slow spin. Rowan realized that Virgil's boots were actually heeled, giving him a few extra inches, enough to actually be taller than him. He'd been so distracted by the everything that he hadn't noticed before now. Well, Roman looked for words as he took him in. What? Is it too risque? I didn't think you'd be bothered, considering we've seen each other in far less, he challenged. Saw his parents shock at that. Well, swim trunks is just different. And you didn't have tattoos then. It's a lot. But you look good. Yeah, androgynous edgelord sounds about right. He nodded, hoping to God that he wasn't blushing too much. His parents relaxed. Virgil was going to give them a heart attack one of these days. Good to know, Virgil nodded. We should go. My mom expects us there for lunch. By the way, my uncles are there, so if you want to change your mind, now is the time. You can figure out another place if you are not up for dealing with all of them at once. In the beginning of their friendship, Roman would have bought the casual way Virgil was talking right now. But he knew better. He was starting to see Virgil's tells. He was nervous. I'm actually looking forward to meeting all of them, he assured him. Virgil relaxed and nodded. Well, let's go then. Good day, Mr. and Mrs. Fernandez, he said as he gave them a polite wave before heading out. Roman took his jacket and helmet from Danny, extremely grateful that he'd elected to stay hidden until Virgil was out the door. He would have the yes, I have a stab in my home conversation some other time. See you tonight, he waved as he hurried out the door after Virgil, who was chuckling and putting on his jacket, zipping it up. For the record, the shoot was real, he informed Roman. Looking forward to seeing the result then. Roman smiled as he put the helmet on the seat and started putting on his own jacket. Virgil moved behind him to assist, making Roman smile despite himself. You are right, it's murder out here, Roman complained as he noticed the heat assaulting him. He'd probably be a disgusting, sweaty mess by the time he got to Virgil's home. Sorry, man. It was early and cool when I left, or I'd have borrowed a car to go to the set and pick you up. I'll think of it next time, Virgil assured him, genuinely apologetic. It's fine, Dark Crusader. I just hope your parents will understand I'm not my most dashing self today, he sighed. It made sense that after a decent meeting between Virgil and his parents, something would have to happen to remind him that today would not go smoothly. No matter, he would make the best of it. He was Roman Fernandez. He'd face the heat and prevail. I think it'll take more than a bit of sweat to douse your charm, Highness. Virgil smirked before putting on Roman's helmet and his own. Roman felt quite a bit better as he got on the motorbike and held on to Virgil. Ready? Virgil asked, to which Roman nodded confidently. Let's do this, the skater boy announced, before he sped up.